We are live. Hello, everyone. Lee Hayward here with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat for Friday, April the 26th. All right. Hopefully this is coming through. Excuse me. Let's see. There was a couple setting changes for those of you who are familiar with the goings-on within the Facebook world. They've kind of changed the way they handle third-party streaming software for live video streams. So I'm not sure if this is going to be streamed through Facebook or not. Right? I'm hoping it will. Fingers crossed that it will. But it may or may not come through. And we're going to try and find out as we get going with today's video chat. So as you're popping on, let me know if this is coming through loud and clear. And also let me know where you're tuning in from. If you are joining us through Facebook or you're joining through the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel, because there have been some changes in the way videos have been streaming. And you'll notice that today I'm no longer streaming through our group. I'm actually streaming through the Total Fitness Bodybuilding page. So I'm actually going to make a post there into our group right now to let folks know we're not streaming through the group. I prefer to stream through our group because we got a really good community over there on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook group, but it's not coming through there today. For some reason, the Facebook gods have changed. Changed their algorithm and won't allow us to stream through the group. So just what's up? I'm just making a note there. All right, just made a note onto our group there. Good stuff. All right, so who is joining in? Let's see. We'll get this show on the road. All right, we got everyone who's coming in so far is coming from YouTube. So we got Lee joining in over on YouTube. Loud and clear, good. Appreciate that. Chad's joining from YouTube as well, down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Welcome. Robert's joining in through YouTube again. Gotcha. We have Matthew joining in over on YouTube. Good stuff. From Brownsville, Texas. Welcome. Jeremy's from Indiana and then coming through on Facebook. Okay, well, at least I know Facebook is still working. Good stuff. Opie joined in over on Facebook as well. Well, that's good. Excellent. So I had a notice when I set up, they said there were some issues with streaming through Facebook, but it is coming through loud and clear. Loud and clear. All right, good. Jeremy joining in over on Facebook. Thomas joined us from Massachusetts through YouTube. Good stuff. Awesome. Appreciate it. All right. Well, guys, I think this is it's going to work. We're going to make it work. So let's get this show underway. Awesome. So again, welcome to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat. My name is Lee Hayward, and I am the creator of the Muscle After 40 Blueprint program and the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel, which has been around since the start of YouTube, right? Back in the day, one of the OGs of the online fitness scene for sure. And the purpose of these video chats is to have a chance where we can connect and kind of do a live stream Q&A, ask me anything related to fitness and nutrition, health and wellness. So if there's any specific challenges with regards to your workouts, any specific challenges with regards to your nutrition plan, building muscle, losing fat, whatever it is that you would like to discuss, feel free to do so and type your questions and topics of discussion into our chat window. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, there'll be the live stream and then the video chat next to it. If you're tuning in through Facebook, it'll probably be the comment section below the live video stream. But either one, you'll be able to type your questions and topics of discussion, and we'll answer those in real time as they come through. Awesome. So who else we got joining in? We have Jeff from Indian Trail, North Carolina. Welcome, Jeff. Glad to have you. Joe is joining in from Florida. Thanks, Joe. Again, as you're popping on, let me know where you're tuning in from. Right, it's always, we do get an international audience, but it's always nice to see where people are tuning in from. All right. From Nashville, Tennessee. Joma. All right. I picked up your username there. Yo, mama so fat. Welcome, yo mama. Gotta love the usernames. I was never creative with my usernames. Every time I ever signed up for a username on a forum or an account or whatever, hey, it's me. I put in my real name. But I know a lot of people, they can't put in their real name. They got to put in yo mama. Jesse's joining in, North Carolina. Welcome. Glad to have you. Awesome, guys. One thing I want to address now, while you're typing in your questions and topics of discussion, I just want to give you a quick little update. Last week, I talked about the Summer Shred coaching program that we're currently in the process of putting together, and had several people reach out to me about that. And I'm currently in email conversations or actual phone call / Zoom call conversations with people who are going through this. So this is basically a program that we're putting in place. It's where we're going through a fat loss accelerator plan to help you get in shape for summer. And ideally, the goal is to lose up to 20 pounds over the course of the summer so that you can hit the beach, hit the pool, take your shirt off without feeling embarrassed and feeling confident in your own skin. That's the goal. So if you're interested in stepping things up, accelerating your fat loss, and getting in shape for the summer, and you would like some help and come on board with our VIP coaching program and go through the Summer Shred coaching plan that we have in place, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me or Facebook message me. Again, my contact information is down below in the description there, and we can have a chat and see if this is a good fit for you. All right, then we'll go into more detail about how it all works there. But if that's something you're interested in, please, by all means, reach out and let me know, and we can have a chat and see if this is a good fit. And another thing I want to share as well, just the other day, I posted up a video masterclass covering top 10 fat loss tips. And this is something that I did last week with the members of our Muscle After 40 coaching program, or some of the members. I mean, not everybody, obviously. We had myself and 3 other guys who tuned into this masterclass, but we went through and shared the top 10 fat loss strategies that you need to have in place, right? So regardless if you're just getting started or even if you're more advanced with your program, you need to have these 10 fundamentals in place if you want to maximize your fat loss. And they're practical action steps. It's stuff that you can start doing today, literally today. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to check out that video. It's the most recent uploaded video to my Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel. So you can go check that out if you haven't already done so. But that is something that you definitely want to check out if fat loss is a priority for you. All right, let's jump in and see what we got here. Here's one. This is from All Smiles. All right, and your dog profile picture is all smiles. Absolutely. Is a BMI, body mass index chart, worth following? Yes and no, but take it with a grain of salt. And for those of you who are wondering what body mass index is, it's basically a chart. So even if you just do a Google search, right, BMI chart, I'll just do that. And I'm going to pop one up because you'll get a whole bunch of them. You can even probably even go into Google Images, and that'd be the best place to actually see these body mass index charts. I'm gonna see if I can actually find one, and we can discuss it here. Can I open that up bigger? Let me see. All right, it's pretty small. I don't know if I can make the chart itself bigger. It's a little bigger. All right, just give me a second. Now I'm going to share my screen here, and we can actually do a deep dive in this, because this is something that I get a lot of my coaching students ask about. The whole body mass index, right? Is it worth following? So here we go. Is that coming through? Let me see. Hopefully it is on your end. I know that's really tiny. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Not much. I don't know. Nah, there's no way I can make that much bigger at all. Oh, that's too small. All right, bigger there. That's as big as she goes. All right, I'm going to close off your question there so we can see it. The way this works is it's a general guideline for where you should fit into and whether you're underweight, overweight, somewhere in the middle, that healthy range. But it's just a general guideline. And don't take it too seriously, especially if you're involved with fitness and bodybuilding and you probably have more lean mass than the average person. So this is kind of just like a bunching everybody into the same group and a general classification. So to kind of put things in perspective, I'm 5'6". I know this chart's really small, but hopefully you can see it there on your end. I'm 5'6", and weight, I'm assuming that this is in, where is it? Okay, so there's pounds up top. All right, so let's just see. And I am currently between 190 and 200. I'm actually, last time I weighed myself, I was like 192 or somewhere in that range. So let's just go down 190 and 5'6". Where's that put me to? All right, geez, it's so small. My So that puts me right in the bottom of the obese category. So guys, if you want to see what it looks like to be obese, you're looking at him. Here I am, Mr. Obese himself right now, because I have a BMI of 31. Now, I'm not too worried about that because my body fat is certainly not what most people would categorize as obese. You know, it's probably actually in the lean, healthy range for a lot of people. But, you know, I mean, if you have visible abdominal definition, now I'm not saying I'm shredded, but I mean, I can see the outline of my abs when I lift the shirt up. That definitely doesn't mean I'm obese. But according to this chart, it puts me right at the 31, which is the bottom end of the obese category. And then, of course, extremely obese would be up there. At my heaviest, I was 240, which is right at the top of the obese, borderline extremely obese, according to the BMI chart. So again, take it with a grain of salt, right? It's a guideline, just as an average estimate of most people. So if you have a lot more lean mass, you've been working out for years, you know, this isn't really that accurate. So, but with that being said, it's something that you can look at the chart and just see where it is. But I mean, I'm not going to freak out and change my approach because according to the body mass index, I'm obese. Leave it at that. It's just interesting to see where you fall. The big thing that I would focus on is your body fat levels, how you feel. Like, I mean, look at yourself. I mean, like, what did Arnold used to say back in the day? If it jiggles, it's fat. So, like, if you're not all jiggly and you don't have rolls of flubber hanging off you, then you're not overweight. You know, if you're lean and firm and tight and you're happy with your physique, then hey, even if you're heavier, like every bodybuilder that steps on a bodybuilding competition stage who has a degree of muscle mass on their frame, they're all technically obese by the BMI chart, but they have very low body fat. So, you know, it's obese in terms of height to weight, but it's not obese in terms of body composition. So that's what you got to factor in. Those BMI charts, they don't factor in body composition. It's just sheer weight on the scale. All right, let's jump in. What other questions we got there? We have Jeffrey's joining in. Jeffrey's a long-term follower. Glad to have you joining in. Again, over on Facebook, so I know that's working. Kareem is joining in. Welcome, Kareem. Actually, I was chatting with Kareem the other day. He was one of the guys who reached out about the Summer Shred coaching program that we have. So I was actually, myself and Kareem had a one-on-one coaching call the other day. Neil is joining in, regular to our chats. Says, hello, Lee. Is it possible to still improve flexibility in your 30s? I mean, like learning full splits, deep squats, deep deficit deadlifts, maximize range of motion. Thanks. Absolutely. Now, as you get older, it's a little harder, but it's not impossible. You can still improve your flexibility. You can still improve your mobility. You can still develop these skills in your 30s and beyond. And to prove my point, like we've got guys who are going through the Muscle After 40 blueprint. Some of them only started working out in their 50s. Some of them in their 60s, best shape of their life, starting in their 50s, starting in their 60s. Now, does that mean that they're maximizing their genetic potential? Well, they're maximizing what they can at this stage of the game. But if they had started when they were younger and maintained that habit and lifestyle right on through, they probably could have been much further along by the time they were at their current age. But you got to look at the big picture, right? You're never going to be as young as you are right now. So start now. I mean, if you're in your 30s and you want to get more flexible, start now. Don't use that as an excuse to hold you back. This is a pet peeve of mine where people think they missed the boat, so it's not even worth trying. Like, oh, I'm in my 30s. Is it even worth trying? Screw it, right? And then they give up on something that they want to achieve. when you could start now, and okay, maybe you're not going to be the most flexible or mobile person. Like maybe, I don't know, you're not going to be doing Van Damme double splits. You know, remember the old school Van Damme used to do the splits on the chairs, right? Maybe you're not going to be that flexible. Maybe you don't have the genetic potential, or maybe you do. I don't know. But hey, start now. You can still improve your flexibility. And as far as stuff like squats and deficit deadlifts and all that, hell yeah. I mean, that's something that you can develop, assuming that you don't have any injuries or mobility issues that are preventing your movement there. I mean, assuming you have healthy joints that can go through a full range of motion, you should definitely be able to do full squats, you know, into your 30s and beyond, even if you're starting now. Right. And again, just to kind of show you some of the guys, you know, to kind of give you some idea of results that's possible even in your later years. Because I know a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around this. You know, like they think, oh, I missed the boat. What's the point of even trying? But I just want to show you some of the guys who've right here. Let me share my screen again. Just give me a moment there, folks. It always takes me a second when I do this. Share screen, share screen. There we are, right here. I want to share this. Mike Brown, one of my top coaching students. I mean, myself and Mike, we talk every single week. Like we follow up with our regular ongoing coaching calls. He's a regular in the Muscle After 40 Blueprint. He started working out at age 56. So here he was, the cell phone in front of the face picture. He admits the reason he did that. He said, I want to take a before picture because I'm going to start working out. But he says, I'm embarrassed. So he actually hid his face behind the phone, which is a common thing when people are taking their first ever before picture. And they're like, oh my God, I hate the way I look. I'm embarrassed to do this. Just snap the picture and get it done and over with. But he's proud of the after picture. And he started at 56, and that after picture, he's 59. So right there, in 3 years, in his 50s, got in the best shape of his life. And I mean, that's a very respectable physique. I'm willing to bet most of you watching this right now would love to have a physique as lean and muscular as Mike has right there. And he did that at age, well, again, starting at age 56, now at age 59, he's in better than most guys half his age, better shape. So is it possible to make progress in your 30s? Hell yeah. I mean, imagine how far along Mike could be if he started in his 30s, right? He started in his 50s and he still got that kind of conditioning. So you're never too old. Like progress is always possible as long as you're taking action and you're following a proven system, right? The biggest thing you have to concern yourself with when it comes to training is one, you want to minimize injury. That's number one, because the only thing that's going to slow your progress down is getting injured, right? I mean, like and of course, quitting and getting injured, because if you get seriously injured, you may be forced to quit or at least take a prolonged layoff. Whereas as long as you can stay healthy and injury-free, you can still make progress. You can keep that momentum going. Even if it's only baby steps of progress, you can do baby steps of progress, compound day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And this is the kind of results that's possible. All right. Some other guys, Steve Gilbert, he's only in his 40s. He's only a boy, right? Let's talk about some older fellas. Richard, here's another guy. I mean, that's a weight loss transformation, but again, you know, at 61, he's leaner and fitter and more mobile than he's been in years. Like lost a lot of weight. You know, we're talking 110 pounds. Right? Jeff's in his 50s, lost 100 pounds. Is 51 years old. Kevin from Pennsylvania, best shape of his life right there. Actually, that's an older picture. Kevin's older than that now. Jeff's in his 30s. You want to see some in your 30s results? This is Jeff. This is the transformation he made in his 30s. Right. There's Trevor at 58. I mean, like you can make progress at. Here's another one, like Paul at 67. Right. I mean, he's actually older than that now. He's going to be pushing 70. I got to update some of these pictures because these guys are still making progress and getting better. But just to put some perspective there, like this is the type of progress that is possible if you follow a proven system and you refuse to quit. Right. That's what the Muscle After 40 Blueprint is all about. All right, let's jump on. See what other questions we got coming through there. Marvin saying, Lee, I've been watching you since 2014 from Nottingham, UK. Just wanted to say thank you. Never got injured following your videos then. Awesome. Appreciate it. Glad to have you joining in, and thanks for the support over the years. It's been going on 10 years now. And you know what? When I look back, 2014 doesn't seem all that long ago, because I actually started online back in 1997, which that is a long time ago now. Started YouTube in 2006. So, I mean, you were even like late to the game, so to speak, in 2014. All right. But appreciate you for joining in. Thanks for the comments and the support. All right, another one coming through here. For getting fit, staying fit, is it better high reps, low weight, or low reps, heavier weight? That depends on the exercise that you're doing, your current fitness level, what it is you're training for, etc. I actually made a blog post a while back where I break down different categories of exercises and the ideal rep ranges that you want to use for different exercises, because it depends. For example, like a heavy compound exercise, like, you know, the big power moves such as a deadlift or a squat or a bench press, they work better with heavier weights and lower reps generally. Now, again, there's exceptions to the rules. Like, there's times when you want to do higher reps in those as well, but generally speaking, those are exercises that you can push yourself with heavier weights and lower reps. Vice versa, isolation exercises like side lateral raises, leg extensions, calf raises, you know, abdominal work, things like that, they tend to work better with higher repetitions and lighter weight. So more time under tension, focusing on the quality of movement and getting that mind-muscle connection, feeling the muscles working rather than simply trying to move weight for the sake of moving weight from point A to point B. So it depends on the exercise, and it also depends on your specific situation. I mean, if somebody's working around an injury, then obviously they want to be lifting lighter weights regardless. If someone's working around mobility issues, they probably want to lift lighter weights. Vice versa, if someone's training for a powerlifting competition, then they're going to have to be doing heavier weights for some exercises. So it's not a cookie cutter, like always do heavy weights and low reps or always do light weights and high reps. It depends on your situation. And to kind of put that into perspective, I'll see if I can find that blog post that talks about, let me see if I can find it there. It's called, if you want to do a Google search, I'm going to post the link in our chat there, but it's, if you search for Lee Hayward, how many reps should you do to build muscle? You will find that blog post. I'm going to type it into our chat window there, so you'll have a link to that if you want to go check it out afterwards. But I can briefly just share it with you here now, kind of go into more detail about it, because that is a great question. That's the one that I get asked a lot, right? Let's open that up. All right, how many reps should you do to build muscle? That's the one I'm referring to. So again, the heavy power moves, squats, deadlifts, bench presses, shoulder presses, those are big ones where you can do heavier weights and lower reps. You know, like a 5x5 program, you could certainly do something like that with these big, heavy compound exercises. When you're getting into the mid-range exercise, like leg presses, barbell rows, dumbbell bench presses, dumbbell shoulder presses, bicep curls, dips, pull-ups, these are mid-range. So that 6 to 10 rep range tends to work really well for a lot of these exercises. Then when we get into the lighter, more isolation moves, leg extensions and leg curls and flies and lateral raises and concentration curls and kickbacks and calves and abs, these are the higher repetitions. So 10 to 15 reps or more, right? Like in these cases, you can sometimes do 20 plus repetitions, no problem. But again, this is a general guideline, and it's not set in stone. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions to the rules for these exercises, but that's kind of a guideline that you can use. The bigger the exercise, the lower the reps, the heavier the weight. The smaller the exercise, the lighter the reps, or the higher the reps, the lighter the weight. All right, let's see what else we got there. Where was I? Lost my spot in the chat. Matthew's got a question next. Okay. According to the chart, I'm in the healthy category. Well, good for you. According to the BMI chart. I mean, it's just a general guideline. But hey, if you're in the healthy range, then that's probably a good thing. But with that being said, there's such a thing as skinny fat. Now, I know Matthew, he's part of our Facebook community and stuff like that, and he's working out and he's taking action to improve his body composition. So I'm quite confident that you are a true healthy body weight for your height. But I'm sure we've all seen people who are skinny and they look skinny in clothes, but then when they take their shirt off, they're still soft. Just because they're skinny doesn't mean they're shredded. Like, you can see sometimes people who are skinny, but there's no abdominal definition, there's no muscle definition. They can still have high levels of body fat, and that's not a good place to be. That means you're over fat and under muscled, right? Which is the kind of like the worst of both situations in that case. But so somebody may be a healthy weight according to the BMI chart, but not have a healthy body composition, and vice versa. They may be like myself, obese, right up there, Mr. Obese himself, staring at you in the face. But I consider myself to have a relatively healthy body composition. Let's see. Marvin's got another comment there saying, remember that vid you did with Elliot about doing a set of pull-ups after each exercise to grow your lats? Do you recommend the same thing for rows if you're targeting the mid back? You could try it if you want. And I do remember that video. For those of you who are been around the iron game and the YouTube scene for a while, this was back around 2010, I think, at Elliot Hulse's original strength camp gym, which was just this little hole in the wall down in St. Petersburg, Florida. I believe it was St. Petersburg, Florida. But it was just this little gym that he had, right? Since then, he upgraded to a much bigger strength camp gym, and I know now he's upgraded and moved on again. I haven't spoke to Elliot in several years now. It was before the pandemic since we've last spoke. But I remember that video we did. And that's a strategy that I've used myself. It's a strategy I use with some of my advanced coaching students, if you want to build a stubborn body part. So for example, you want to build your back and you want to get better at pull-ups. A great way to do it is to space those pull-ups out over the course of your workout. So rather than doing multiple sets right in a row, like most people do with an exercise, you space it out. So like, let's say we start off with a set of pull-ups and then you go do your first exercise, your workout. Then in between, after that exercise, you go to the pull-up bar, bang out another set, and then go on to your next exercise. And in between each exercise, just bang out a set of pull-ups. And over the course of the workout, you can get a lot of pull-up volume done without taking a lot of time. And by spacing them out, you'll actually get more total repetitions than if you tried to do them all set after set after set. Because what happens when you do a set of pull-ups and you rest a minute, and then you do another set of pull-ups, and you rest a minute and do another set? That fatigue accumulates very quickly, and you can't get a lot of volume in. But if you space it out like this over the course of the workout, it's amazing how many more pull-ups you'll do and how much more time under tension and how much more training volume you can get in. I usually recommend this for pull-ups or push-ups. So if you want to build up your back, do the pull-ups. If you want to build up your chest, do push-ups. If you wanted to build up your legs, you could use body weight squats. Those are generally how I recommend it. But there's nothing saying you couldn't use this same principle for another exercise or another muscle group. So in your case, you mentioned the rows. You could certainly do that, especially if you have, you can set up the equipment and know that nobody's going to take it on you. So if you're training at a gym that's not very busy, you could pull this off. That's why I like the body weight exercises, because with pull-ups, there's no exercise setup. You literally just go to the pull-up bar, bang out a set of pull-ups, right? And it's easy to do that frequently. With push-ups, you just hit the floor, bang out a set of push-ups. So there's no exercise setup. With this, you had to be able to set up the exercise, whatever it is you're using, barbell rows or something, and then hopefully nobody takes that on you while you're doing your next exercise and coming back to it. But, as long as you can pull that off, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to do that with another exercise. I mean, bottom line, try it, see how it works. I mean, if it works good, your body responds well, you like it, keep doing it. If you try it for a couple weeks and you say, this isn't for me, I don't like it, then scrap it. No damage done either way, right? I mean, it's a lesson learned. All right, let's see what else we got there. Let's see. I'm just losing my spot here in the chat. Oh, appreciate that. JTZR1. He says, this isn't much, but just to thank you for your knowledge you share. You know what? That it does mean a lot. I do appreciate it. And thank you so much. Right? Every little bit helps support the channel, and it is much appreciated. And if you do have a question, feel free to post it. All right. I'll give you priority. But again, thanks for your support. It is much appreciated. All right. Where else are we now? Lost my spot again in the chat. Just a second. All smiles. Thank you. One more question. My son is 15, starting to lift weights and eat right. He wants to drink mass gainer. Any tips? Yes. I mean, that's a good question. First off, 15 is an excellent age to start. You know, any time, like early teens is fantastic. Like I'm starting my son to work out. He's 7, but that's borderline on the young age, and not because of I'm afraid he's going to get hurt or anything like that. It's young because his attention span is so short. Like if you've seen, I actually posted up a video clip there a couple weeks ago. It was just like a little short video posted up on Facebook. I'm not sure if I posted on YouTube or not, but we were in the gym working out, and like he'll do a set of an exercise, and it's like, okay, that's good. I want to move on, do something else. Like one set, I want to move on. So his attention span is not there yet, but we're introducing him to the gym and getting him comfortable being there. But when you're in your early teens like this, like I started working out when I was 12, your son's 15, like any time in that range is ideal, because they have the maturity, the attention span to actually commit to following a structured workout program. So kudos to you for getting your son into training at this age. As far as the mass gainer, I would recommend a protein powder instead of a mass gainer. And I'm going to explain the differences between the two. Protein powders are pure protein. So the most popular ones are whey protein, but you can get other ones. But generally speaking, a whey protein is probably going to be the best value for your money, and it's easily available in most supplement stores, grocery stores, anywhere you go these days. You should be able to find protein powder, whey protein powder. I would recommend getting that versus a mass gainer. Mass gainers are mostly carbohydrates, fats, and protein, but there's often a lot of sugar in them, a lot of fat in them, a lot of empty calories that we really don't need unless you're I don't want to say absolutes here, but for most people, they don't need more carbs and fat. Most people need more protein. Carbs and fat are the easy foods to eat, even for kids, right? Like most kids have no trouble slamming back carbohydrates. Like they like breads and cereals and junk food, which is all fat and carbs. Like eating more carbs is usually not the problem. Eating enough protein is. So you don't need to be spending money on supplements to supplement something that he's probably already getting in abundance with, again, carbohydrates and fat. You want to spend money on quality protein because that's something that he's probably not getting in abundance. And you want to make sure that he's getting at least a gram of protein per pound of body weight per day as a benchmark. Like that should be the minimum that you strive for. So just to throw some numbers out, if your son is 130 pounds, you want to make sure he's getting 130 grams of protein per day. Right? If he's heavier than that, just again, 1 gram per pound of body weight is a good benchmark to shoot for. Getting that through solid food alone can be challenging. That's where the protein powders help out. So it's a lot easier. It's a lot cheaper as well. Like if you compare high protein foods like chicken and beef and fish and all the, you know, that type of high protein food on a gram per gram basis compared to whey protein, more often than not, the whey protein actually works out cheaper. Now, I know a lot of people think, oh, protein powder is expensive, but you got to look at it. You're buying, let's say, like a 5-pound container of whey protein, and you're paying, I don't know, $60 or thereabouts. It depends where you live and the brand and everything else. But let's just say it's $60 for a 5-pound container, thereabouts. That's a lot of protein. That's 5 pounds of actual protein. To get the same amount of protein from chicken, you would have to buy about 20 pounds of chicken breast, because gram for gram, the protein is pure protein virtually, whereas chicken is not pure. Like the chicken probably has about 20% protein by weight. So a pound of protein powder is not the same as a pound of chicken breast, right? You need to have 5 pounds of chicken breast equal 1 pound of protein powder. And when you start buying it in that volume, you realize, okay, protein powder actually does work out cheaper on a gram for gram basis more often than not. All right. So it can actually be cost saving, and it can be a lot more convenient. And the cool thing about protein powder is you can get really creative with it. Like these days, you go on YouTube and start searching for like protein recipes and stuff like that. There's a gazillions of them out there. But some of my favorites, like I love to make high protein oatmeal. So I'll mix up a bowl of oatmeal, throw in a scoop of protein powder, just stir it in. And now I just took a bowl of carbohydrates and made it a nice serving of protein and carbohydrates, right? So it's a simple way to get your protein in for breakfast, and it's tasty. Same thing, like you could take blender smoothies, add protein in with them. So you can put like fruit and berries and things like that into a blender smoothie, add a scoop of protein powder. Now, instead of just having a fruit smoothie, you have a fruit and protein smoothie. And this is stuff that most kids would love to drink, and consume. So it's a great way to get extra nourishment, extra protein in there. And it's tasty, convenient, and it's affordable. So get protein powder. Do not get mass gainer. It's much better bang for your buck and better quality nutrition for your son. All right. Kareem says he's in the overweight category at 28, 27 BMI. Gotcha. Again, take that with a grain of salt, right? I don't know. We were chatting the other day. Like, no, you're not overweight, right? The BMI says you are, but no, we'll take that with a grain of salt. Joe's asking if 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps is good. We kind of broke that down when we explained the different exercise categories and the different rep ranges. So if I'm assuming you're posting this question before I covered that, but go back to that blog post, and it's there in the video chat comments. Check out the how many reps should you do to build muscle, that link I shared there, and that will explain the ideal rep ranges for various exercises. Because again, 12 to 15 reps is good for some exercises, probably not ideal for others. And again, it depends on your situation and what you're trying to achieve. Another question here from Kareem. He says, those Inbody scans I heard aren't too accurate. I heard a DEXA scan is the way. It's still a tool you can use to monitor your progress, but I've heard similar things. Now, I'll be honest, I've never had an Inbody scan, and I've never had a DEXA scan, so I don't have personal experience. I live in Newfoundland, and as far as I know, there's no facilities in Newfoundland that offer Inbody or DEXA. Like, we have a small population density. Like our major city has like 200,000 people max, whereas a lot of cities have in the millions of people, right? Or a million plus. So we don't have the population density for a lot of these things. And if anybody in Newfoundland knows of Inbody and DEXA scans that are available locally, please let me know. I mean, I'd gladly go get one if they're available, but as far as I know, they're not. So I can't speak from personal experience on this, but I know some of my coaching students who do get them. And it is a great tool to kind of give you an idea of your body mass, your lean mass, your fat mass, and all this kind of stuff. But there's margins of error, right? There's margins of error with all these scans. So take it with a grain of salt, right? I know one of my coaching students I shared earlier, Mike, he has an Inbody scan, and depending on his level of hydration, it can vary greatly. Like some days it'll say he's 8% body fat. Another day it'll say he's 15% body fat, and anything in between. It can fluctuate depending on levels of hydration and all numerous factors. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Now, he did find that the ones that you do at facilities, like this was a home Inbody scan machine that he had. Some of the commercial ones are a bit more accurate, but even then there's margins of error. And the same with DEXA scan. I mean, it'll put you in the ballpark and give you an estimation of your body fat, but depending on the methods used and the skill of the tester and the quality of the equipment, it may vary. And of course, there's certain variables, hydration and all this can have an impact on it as well, especially when it comes to measuring your lean mass. Like if you're dehydrated, it's going to show that you lost muscle. If you're well hydrated, it's going to show that you gained muscle. If you're carb depleted, it's going to show that you lost muscle. If you're carb loaded, it's going to show that you gained muscle. So food and water, which really has nothing to do with your actual body fat in the short term. It does over the long term. But in the moment, like if you are fasted or fed, that's going to impact your lean body mass on these scans. So you just have to be aware of that. Take it with a grain of salt. And the big thing that I focus on, like when I'm coaching people and we're trying to track real world results, we look at body weight and we recommend daily weighing. So weigh yourself every single day, same time every day, and kind of get an average for the week, right? So like first thing every morning after you use the loo, jump on the scale, track your weight, write it down. And then over the course of the week, write down all those numbers, average them out. That's your average weight for the week. That's how you can measure your body weight. The other one we like to use measurements, like especially your waistline measurement. I mean, if you want one key measurement and your main goal is fat loss, measure your waistline circumference. For me, I like to measure my top of my hips around where I wear my pants and belt. You know, I measure that. And I also measure right around the belly button, which is kind of like the magnet for body fat for most people. That's the big one. I measure those two, and I'll also keep track of my weight, and I'll take progress photos. And that alone can tell you if you're on the right track. I mean, if your measurements are going down, your weight is going down, your strength and energy is either maintaining or going up, that's a sure sign that you're improving your body composition, losing fat. But ultimately, we want to look better. So the progress pictures are key. Because, I mean, like, for example, at a bodybuilding competition, when competitors get on stage, the judges are not breaking out body fat testers and calipers and DEXA scans. Like, nobody gives a shit about that. It's like, who looks the best, right? When you're at the beach, right? Nobody's saying, oh, what's your DEXA scan or anything like that. It's like, hey, you look good or you don't. That's it, right? It's more of a visual thing. So if you can see progress in pictures, like, you know, you're taking pictures every month and you're seeing visual changes month to month to month, you're making progress regardless of what the scan says, right? So I like to look at more real world practical measurements or practical indicators of tracking your progress than getting too hung up on all the fancy dancy scans and whatnot. Yeah, Richard joining in from Iowa. Welcome. Glad to have you. Says, I can't stay long. Just wishing everyone a great weekend. Peace. Appreciate it, Richard. And he is a member of our Muscle After 40 Blueprint program. And he's the one I mentioned who's lost a significant amount of weight. Richard's lost well over 100 pounds in his fat loss journey, and he's still making progress. So I have a lot of respect for what he's done and what he's still achieving. So thanks for joining. We got Art joining in. Welcome. What else we got there? Oh, this is a follow-up to the flexibility question earlier. Cream says, no excuses for flexibility. He says, my jiu-jitsu coach was 40-something and could do the splits. Yeah, a prime example. Absolutely. You know, flexibility is something that can be trained and improved regardless of age. All right. From Wisconsin, near Milwaukee. Welcome, Art. Jeffrey saying, what's your opinion on Dr. John Jackwish fitness bar? It looks like a glorified elastic band to me. I got to be totally honest. This is the first time I've heard of Dr. John Jackwish and his fitness bar. So I don't really have an opinion, but I guess we could do a quick Google search and I could form one very quickly. Dr. John... How do you? I got another window there. How do you pronounce it? Jackwish. I'm assuming I'm spelling that right or saying that right. It's not even coming up in the Google search. Let me see. I must be spelling it wrong. Jaqi. All right, just a second, guys. All right, there it is. Fitness bar. Okay. Fitness bar. X3. Let me see. Okay, I've seen that. I just wasn't familiar with the. No offense to Dr. John, but I've seen pictures of that. I just didn't relate the name to the machine. It is a glorified fitness band or rubber band. It's just a rubber band with a bar on it. All right, I was just when you mentioned it, just didn't click with me. But yeah, I've seen that before. Actually, I'm just going to share my screen so the people who are watching this knows what the hell I'm talking about here. Share screen. There it is. X bar. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to right there. I'm just going to hide your comment. It's better than nothing. I mean, like, I'm a fan of resistance bands, and a lot of my coaching students, I recommend go get yourself a set of resistance bands because they're very versatile. They're great for like home gym workouts. When you can't make it to the gym, you can use a resistance band. I've never used this particular one with the bar attachment to it. So again, I can't really comment on it. It looks like it's a heavy duty. I mean, some of those pictures looks like it's a freaking big band. So obviously it's a lot of resistance there, which is advantageous for bigger, stronger people who need a lot of resistance. But most of the resistance band setups these days, like you can stack multiple bands to make the exercise harder. All right. There's a lot of different brands out there. I'm not saying one is any better than the other, but you know, if you got that and you enjoy it, it's an alternative for home gym workouts, right? Is it better than going to the gym? Hell no. Right? Is it better than nothing? Hell yeah. So you have to look at the bigger picture, right? If you're on a budget, you can't afford, you know, to spend thousands of dollars on decking out your house with a home gym, and you don't want to join a commercial gym, something like this, resistance bands, probably a set of adjustable dumbbells, that would certainly be enough to get you started. Like there's guys going through the Muscle After 40 program who are working out at home with resistance bands and dumbbells and still making progress. Now, it will have a limit. Like you will get to a point eventually where you're going to want to progress. You want a gym membership or at least some better quality equipment to further your gains along. But you can still make solid progress using stuff like this. All right. Again, thanks. I'm just going to stop that. Stop share. Okay, good. Gotcha. But again, thanks for sharing. That was from Jeffrey. All right. What else we got? Richardson, you should see Mike's pick from today. Okay, I'll have to go check it out. I didn't log into our VIP group before I came onto the chat, so Mike must have posted up a new progress picture from today. Good stuff. I'll check that out. Thank you for letting me know. Earth's Savior says, I've had to take 2 months almost completely off lifting to finish writing my thesis. I'm frothing at the mouth to get back to the gym. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. 2 months off. All right, we can argue whether or not you had to take 2 months off, because I'm sure within that time frame, there's probably would have been time to get some exercise. But hey, let's just accept the fact you haven't been to the gym in the last 2 months. Start back just like a beginner, right? Like literally just go through the motions. I don't care how strong you were when you left off. Start back as a beginner, at least for the first few weeks. Just kind of get the momentum going again, because it's amazing how fast your body will decondition after 2 months out of the gym. Like you will lose a lot of strength and fitness and stamina and all that. But the good side, you will regain it a lot quicker the second time around than it took you to gain it initially. So while it's true that you can lose muscle and fitness very fast, you can also regain it pretty fast as well. And that's what's known as muscle memory. But, just again, I can certainly respect that you want to get back to the gym, and I certainly would too if I was in that situation. But start off small and just ease your way back to it. Like the first week, like literally just go through the motions with warm-up weights, and then just focus on getting a little better week after week after week. And eventually, over the course of probably the next 6 weeks or so, you should be able to build yourself back up to where you were when you left off. But don't expect to just, pick up where you left off. Like let's say, I was repping out 225 for sets of 10 on the bench press 2 months ago. Haven't lifted a weight since, and then expected to do the same today. Or no. Start off small. Start off with warm-up weights and build yourself up gradually. Let's see. Marino is joining. Welcome. Glad to have you joining in. Adil's the question that everybody wants to know, right? The one that's blasted all over the news. What is your opinion on Ozempic for fat loss? That's a good question. And there is a time and a place for something like this, right? For people who are extremely obese, and when we just covered the BMI chart. So when I say obese, obese by most people's standards, like technically on the body mass index chart, I'm obese. I would never use Ozempic, right? I'm not technically obese, but I'm talking people who have like 100+ pounds of excess body fat and they're obviously overweight and they've been struggling with their weight for years and they really struggle with their appetite and they've tried dieting and it's just like I can never stick with it. You know, it's like people who are truly struggling with this, and it's not just a temporary thing or a laziness thing. Because let's be honest, we all know people who, hey, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape, and they talk a big game, but they don't do diddly squat. Like they do not try to improve their eating habits. They're still drinking sugary soda pops. They're not exercising. They're not even going out for a walk. They're ordering takeaway and Uber Eats and DoorDash and whatever. They're eating potato chips. They're eating candy bars. They're drinking booze. Like they just, everything that you should not be doing, they are doing, yet they say they want to lose weight. So like in those situations, I think, no, I mean, you gotta clean your act up first. Like you have to have some initial drive there first if you want to try and make some progress. But if people are truly trying and still struggling, then this is where Ozempic, I think, can play a role. Now, the thing about Ozempic is it will work for virtually anybody because it forces your body to just shut down your appetite. I mean, that's one of the big things. Like it sends the signals to your stomach. First off, it slows digestion. So the food you do eat gets digested very slowly. So it's sitting in your stomach longer and digesting slower. And then it sends all the signals, to the brain and the various receptors throughout the body to lower your appetite. So, I mean, it's triggering you that you just don't want to eat. So pretty much everybody who goes on this is going to lose weight. But the problem, and this is the big problem, is it's only a quick fix solution. Because if you just have a short-term appetite suppression while you're on this, as soon as you stop it, if you go back to your old habits again, you're going to gain the weight back again. You're going to go right back to where you were. And so, I mean, it's like, what's the point of going on this and say someone goes on Ozempic for the next 6 months and they lose 50 pounds. And then they go off Ozempic, and then over the course of the following year, they gain that 50 pounds back again. What's the point? Right? They just wasted all that money and went through all that hassle, ultimately for nothing, because they're right back to square one again. So you still need to change your diet and lifestyle habits and your exercise habits. Like you can't just pop a pill, or in this case, jab yourself with an injection and hope that this is going to be the magic cure. It's only a quick fix solution. Now, it can be a crutch to help somebody to develop those habits initially, because if you're not hungry, it's easier to start making some better food choices because you're not having these uncontrollable hunger cravings. So if you start implementing better eating habits while you're using it, hopefully some of those eating habits will stick when you stop using it. And then you can kind of maintain some of that progress. Another big problem with this is if you're eating a lot of processed junk food, let's say, like you're eating the standard American diet, which is just, you're not following any specific nutrition protocol. You're eating just whatever you want, which is usually high in carbs, high in fat, low in protein. And you go on this and you have suppressed appetite. So you just eat less of the not so good food. So you're still eating crap, processed foods, high carbs, high fat, low protein, but just less of it. Because of that, very often people develop nutritional deficiencies and they lose a lot of lean muscle because most people are not consuming adequate protein anyway. And then if you go on this and your appetite is drastically reduced, now you're consuming even less protein. A lot of the weight that's lost is lean muscle, especially if you're not exercising, you're not placing stress and demands on the muscle. You're just in a massive calorie deficit. The weight's going to come from body fat. It's going to come from lean mass. And then this is really setting you up for disaster, because if you lose muscle, then that's your metabolically active tissue. Muscle is speeding your metabolism up. So let's just say you lose 50 pounds on Ozempic, 30 of it is fat and 20 of it is muscle. And then you go back to your old eating habits. Now you've got 20 pounds less metabolically active muscle on your frame, and you go back to your old eating habits, you're going to regain that weight that much faster. And now you're going to be fatter than ever with less muscle on your body. So it's like you'll be over fat and under muscled, and it's just setting you up for disaster. So it could really go haywire. But With that being said, if it's done properly and done under proper supervision, and you actually implement exercise, nutrition, lifestyle habits, all the stuff that we already know we should be doing anyway, regardless if we're taking fat loss medication or not, if you implement that along with the fat loss medication, you can probably get better results. And it might be the crutch that somebody needs to kickstart them and push them over the edge, that the extra assistance, so to speak. And it could help in that situation. So I'm not like pro or con or for or against or whatever. It depends on the situation, but I can see the benefit of it. And I know people, know of people personally who have used it and have gotten good results with it. But you got to think of all these things that I just shared. It's just because you're getting quick short-term results while you're on it, what happens when you go off it? I mean, if you go back to your old habits again, you're going to regain the weight back again. And this applies with any type of fat loss program. Like, let's say you went on a ketogenic diet or a intermittent fasting diet or whatever, and you lost a bunch of weight. And then you say, okay, the diet's done. I lost the weight. And then I go back to my old eating habits. If you go back to doing what you did while you were fat, you're going to get fat again. You have to create new lifestyle habits. And without that lifestyle change, meaning improved eating, improved exercise, improved healthy lifestyle habits, the medication, it was only a short-term temporary solution, right? It's not going to create lasting change. So it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, there is a time and a place for it, absolutely. But you need to take it serious, and you need to still implement those changes regardless. Right, hopefully that helps answer your question. Let's see what else. Is it true that machines are superior to free weights for pure hypertrophy? I would not say that. There's advantages to machines, free weights, body weight exercises, resistance bands, all of the above. Right? There's advantages, pros and cons to all of them. I'm just going to break it down for you, because this is something that I deal with a lot with my personal coaching students that I'm working with, especially the people that I'm working with in the gym, where I'm going through this in real time with them. When I'm starting somebody off brand new, we always start with machine exercises first, because they're the easiest to learn. The machine balances and supports the weight for you. All you have to do is push or pull under resistance. Like, there's no risk of, having to balance and stabilize. There's no risk of falling over or anything like that. It's very easy to learn a machine exercise, and you can actually start to stimulate the muscles with machine exercises. Once you've got the basics there, then we gradually start to work into some free weight variations. So they like to say we start with a chest press machine. And once somebody's comfortable, they know how to activate their chest and they have proper form, and they're getting some good time under tension, actually stimulating strength and muscle growth with the chest press machine. They're saying, all right, you're doing good there. Let's try a barbell bench press, and see how that feels. And then all of a sudden, whoa, now they got to balance and stabilize, and they're shaky and all feeling awkward. So the weight has to drop down drastically until they learn how to balance and stabilize that and get solid under the bench press bar. And then eventually they'll be able to build up and get stronger there. And then once they're good on that, then, hey, maybe we'll move to dumbbell bench presses. And there's even more balance and stabilization, because instead of having one weight to balance, now you got two, one in each arm. So there's different levels of stimulation. And when you use free weights versus machines, you have to really bring in all these stabilizing and supporting muscles to assist the major muscles and the major movers. There's also a greater risk of injury, because where you're balancing and you're unstable, you could easily twist and, throw something out of whack, like, shoulder injuries, prime example. Like, shoulder injuries are so common with bench presses and overhead presses and things like that, because people are straining under the weight. And then if things go hell west or crooked, next thing you know, there goes the rotator cuff. Whereas when you're lifting a machine in a fixed path, there's less chance of that happening, because the machine is balancing and stabilizing the weight for you. You're just pressing along a straight set path. So again, it's not right, wrong, or anything like that. It's just different variations. Now, if somebody wants to train to failure, like really push themselves, it's safer to do so with the machine than it is with free weights, for those exact reasons that I just said. You're not going to lose your balance. You're less likely to get injured, right, when you're using a machine. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. You can still injure yourself with machines. Don't get me wrong. But it is safer than free weights, right? So you got to just look at the bigger picture and what it is that you're training for. Personally, I mean, I still incorporate both machines and free weights, but nowadays, where I'm not trying to be the biggest and strongest, and I'm just focusing on health and longevity and mobility and wellness, I usually use probably 70% of my workouts are machines, 30% free weight. Right, that's about the ratio that I use. All right, what else we got there? Another question from Adil. Good stuff. What do you feel is the ideal body fat range for men for health and aesthetics? 15%. And again, that's going to vary depending on the method of body fat testing you're using, because some methods will give you a higher reading, some will give you a lower reading. But in that 15-ish range is a good number. If you're getting lower than that, it's probably starting to get to the leaner, depleted. You're on a diet, so to speak, to maintain that lean physique, unless you're just naturally lean. If you're over that, then you're probably overweight. Like if you're 20% or more, you got a little bit of fluff, right? You can trim off some of that excess fluff. I think the 15 range is a good, healthy range to be in. And I would estimate that I'm in that range right now, right? Somewhere in that 15-ish range. And if you want to just, I posted some pictures there a while back on my Facebook, just to kind of share that. See if I can find them for us here now, to kind of what I consider sustainable weight, or sustainable body fat, I should say. Where's it to? Here we go. Okay. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. There, I'll just share that for a second. Now, share screen again, guys. Bear with me. Share screen. Where's it to? Facebook. There. Like, that was a recent picture of yours truly, and I'd say I'm around 15% body fat, give or take. I'm in that range. Like, if there's visible abdominal definition, there's not. It's certainly not obese, right? like the BMI chart is telling me I am, but I'm not shredded either. Like, that's if I had to get shredded, I'd need to lose about 20 pounds off that physique in order to get at least 20 pounds to get stage shredded. But it's lean enough where I can see some muscle definition. I don't have that extra roll of fat hanging over the belt or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm not starving myself or feeling deprived. So that right there, I consider that around 15% body fat. And that's, for me, that's healthy and sustainable and maintainable. And I feel comfortable enough to take my shirt off and post a picture on Facebook. So I'm comfortable. I mean, it's not going to win a bodybuilding competition. It's not going to put me on the cover of Men's Health or anything like that. But hey, I'm comfortable with it, and I'm healthy, and I'm able to enjoy life without feeling like I'm starving myself on some crazy cutting diet. And like, that's the whole idea of the Muscle After 40 program. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve there with that kind of level of sustainable conditioning. So hopefully that helps answer your question. And it will vary from person to person, because some people are naturally leaner than others. Some people just have a lot more, and again, depending on your past, like someone who was really overweight in the past, they may not be able to get to that level of body fat, right? It is an individual, a journey for sure. Brian says, will you be at my bench press competition on May 18th in Charlotte? I'm going to be totally honest. No, I will not, but I'll be rooting for you, rooting for you from afar. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. Brian actually shared this on our Facebook group not too long ago, some of his progress that he's made with his competing in his first bench press competition. But Brian is also pretty freaking shredded. We were talking about body fat conditioning and levels and whatnot. Brian is probably, not only is he strong, but he's not too far off physique competition shape. I just got to share this, Brian. Hopefully you're okay with me doing this. I got to share his pictures, because the guy is lean. I mean, look at that, right? Actually, I'll move your comment there and see, because look at the definition in his back. Like, you can see the Christmas tree in the lower back, and I mean, the abs are defined there, and there's even striation showing in the chest. Like, the man is lean, super lean, and is also getting ready for his bench press competition. So, to answer Adil's question based on body fat percentage for Brian, like, I would say Brian is sub 10% body fat. Again, I don't know the exact number, but that's definitely sub 10%, Whereas in my picture that I showed earlier, where was it? Right here. Like that's up in the 15-ish percent. Like I got a bit more pudge than Brian does. But still, that's everyone's different. Everyone's on their own journey. All right, what else we got there? Lost my spot there. If someone starts off as skinny fat, should they cut or bulk first? I'm not a fan of either. I'm a fan of body recomposition. And it is very possible to lose body fat and build lean muscle at the same time when you're following a proper program. And to kind of put some real world numbers there, because a lot of people are confused about this, and there's YouTubers and fitness gurus and all this and fitness influencers out there saying, oh, it's impossible to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. You got to bulk or you got to cut. No, it's not, and it depends on the level that the person's at. If someone is a novice and they're just getting started, you can absolutely build muscle and lose fat at the same time. The only time that this becomes an issue is at the elite levels, when people have already kind of like, they're maxing out their genetic potential. They're already have maxed out their level of definition and low body fat, or they've already maxed out their level of lean muscle mass that they can add to their frame. I mean, think of a pro bodybuilder. And I don't mean a bodybuilder that competes. Like, I'm in the category of a bodybuilder that's competed. I'm talking about like Mr. Olympia caliber pro bodybuilders, the best of the best of the best. You know, the 1 in the million, right? That level of the elite bodybuilder. At that stage, you know, if somebody wants to gain mass, they're probably going to have to gain a little bit of body fat along with it. If somebody wants to get ultra shredded, they're going to have to lose a little bit of lean mass to really maximize that definition. That's different. But for the average person, you can absolutely gain muscle and lose body fat at the same time if you follow a proper program. And I've seen that. And some of the results that I've been sharing with you, coaching students have gone through the Muscle After 40 program. They have all done that. They've all improved their lean mass, their strength and energy, and their body composition while trimming off body fat. So I'm always a big fan of body recomposition and not going on these bulks or cuts, because when somebody bulks, they tend to consume calorie excess, and some of that weight is going to get spilled over and gain more fat. So in the case of a skinny fat person, if they bulk, they're going to get fatter. We don't want that. If they're skinny fat and they go on an extreme calorie deficit, they risk losing lean mass in the process. I would rather them eat at a maintenance with the ideal ratios, like probably 1/3 of their calories from protein, 1/3 from carbs, 1/3 from fat, have balanced macronutrient ratios, calorie maintenance, and then let the training burn the body fat and improve the body composition. Right? Like, keep the body weight stable, let the training and the quality nutrition improve the competition, the composition. Getting tongue tied there. That's where I would usually focus on first. Another question here. I know we're gone over the hour mark, so I'm going to get ready and clue it up shortly. Something not enough people discuss is stress on the central nervous system. If you lift for 2 hours intensely versus for an hour, beyond a certain point, it becomes counterproductive. Thoughts? Yes, absolutely. And when it comes to volume and intensity, you can have one or the other. You can't have both. So if you're going to do a short workout, let's just say an hour, it's possible to do a high intense hour-long training session, assuming that you're in shape to do that. Like, what's considered, you know, intense is going to vary depending on your personal fitness level and everything else. But just from general terms here, if you do a really hard 1 hour workout, or you can kind of do an easier 2 hour workout, but you can't do both, because the intensity starts to drop off at a certain point. Like, anybody who does endurance training, this is well known in endurance. Like, you can either go fast and high intensity, or you can go long, low intensity. You can't do both, right? You can't go high intensity for long durations. Like, it just does not work. Your body will start to shut down. You can't do that. So you have to choose one or the other. Now, from a muscle building point of view, if we're talking about strength training, which I'm assuming you are, I would err more on the shorter, more intense workouts in order to stimulate muscle growth versus these longer 2-hour workouts. Right now, with that being said, some people do long 2-hour workouts and it works for them. They get progress with it. So I'm not trying to knock it. If you're doing it and it's working for you, you enjoy it, keep doing it until it stops working for you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But most people, that hour is kind of like the sweet spot. And for me personally, when I go to the gym and weight train, I do about an hour of actual weight training. Now, the total time in the gym is a bit longer than that because I factor in a warm-up, and then I do some post-workout stretching. And then if there's any socializing thrown in amongst there, I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes I get chatting if I see some buddies or friends at the gym, and next thing you know, a few minutes of chatting went by. So that all accumulates into the workout time or gym time. But of actual weight training, an hour max. Beyond that, it's really counterproductive, right? I mean, I can't exert intensity beyond that. And if I'm doing any longer in the gym beyond that hour, it's cardio, stretching, mobility work, or some other low intensity form of exercise that is still beneficial, but it's not muscle hypertrophy, strength building, right? It's just additional training volume for other reasons, whether again, cardio for fat loss, stretching and mobility work, or whatever. So I'm more of that in shorter, intense workouts versus the long, dragged out workouts. And I've tried both. Like I remember back in the day, especially when I was younger and had all the time in the world, I used to pride myself on saying, oh, I worked out for 3 hours today. Oh, I worked out for 4 hours today. And thought like the more hours you could rack up is almost like a badge of honor and the better results you were going to get. And there comes a point of diminishing returns, right? So it's more is not better when it comes to training. And that also applies to frequency as well. Because again, when I was a teenager, living at home with mom and dad, no responsibilities, and just had all the time. All I had to do was go to school and work out. Had all the time in the world to do it. I was working out every single day, like 2+ hours again on the weekdays, and then on the weekends I'd sometimes stretch it out to 3 or 4 hours or more. So I was spending endless hours in the gym day after day after day. And it quickly got to the point where I was making like no progress and I just felt burnt out all the time. I was like, what's going on? Like I'm doing all this training. Why am I not getting bigger? Like, where's the muscles? I'm putting in the work. Where are the muscles? And then I started educating myself. Now, keep in mind, this was before the days of the internet. So information didn't come at you as quickly and as overwhelmingly as it does today. We had to get information through books and VHS tapes and courses and things like that, and magazines. Information came at a much more slower pace. But I remember reading some of the early information that Dorian Yates started putting out, about his high intensity style training and his shorter workouts. Instead of training every single day or 6 days a week, he was doing like 3 to 4 workouts a week. So I remember back when I slashed my workouts from like 6+ days a week to 3 days a week or every other day, I started making gains, right? Like I felt stronger, I felt more recovered, and I was actually able to approach each workout feeling refreshed and energized and able to push myself versus always feeling like I'm depleted and running flat, like not having full recovery. So I made my best size and strength gains ever training every other day, right? So workout one day, take the next day off. Workout one day, take the next day off. So 3 days a week, every other day. So that was the best progress that I ever made. And even now when I'm coaching people, that's the approach we use. One day on, one day off, one day on, one day off. And the progress that they can make at that type of, when you have that interval, it's amazing. Like the body is rested and recovered and able to push itself for each workout versus always feeling like you're drained and depleted. So yeah, there's certainly a lot to that, but more is not better, especially when it comes to weight training. And Kareem says, thanks. Great stuff. You're welcome, my friend. Glad to help. All right, let's see. We got still lots of questions coming through. I'll see what else I can do here. I'm just going to tell you up front, I'm not answering them all. Oh boy, let's just see. Scrolling through here. I'm going to try and answer probably one more, and then we're going to clue it up. How much did you weigh to get 10% body fat? I'm 5'6" as well. Never gone down lower than 15, give or take. I've been eating 0.8 to 1 gram protein per pound of body weight. Progressive overload, 15,000 steps. for me to get into the 10% range, I'd have to be into the 180s category for body weight. I'm currently in the low 190s. If I got down to the low 180s, I'd say I'd be in the 10% body fat range. So that's round ballpark where I'd need to be. I know last time when I competed, I made my comeback into the Masters over 40 classic physique bodybuilding. That was back in 2021. I weighed in at 174, I think. Because for classic, you had the height weight cutoff. So my weight limit was 175, and I came in just under at 174. And that was certainly sub 10% body fat. That was competition shape. But leading up until that, at that around that 10% range, I was probably in the 180s. That was a very lean, solid weight for me. And just kind of see if I have any pictures I could share to kind of put some numbers there to that. I know there's pictures there somewhere. Just give me a second, guys. Let's see if I can find it and just to share. But in that 180, 185, in that range, that would put me personally in the 10% range. Now, of course, that's going to vary for everybody. Like everyone's going to have their own set point or whatever. Yeah, so I'll just screen share again one more time. Screen share right here. That there, I was in the 180 range. I don't know if I say it in the post exactly how heavy I was or not. I can't remember. I don't think I did. But I just know based on where I was at the time, that's somewhere around 180 to 185 in that range. That's where I was about. And I would say that's 10% or maybe less. Again, I don't get too hung up on body fat percentage. Like I mentioned before, when I'm tracking progress, I look at pictures. Like this, just the visual alone, you can tell, okay, picture 1, I'm soft, I'm fat, I got fluff. Picture 2, I'm lean, I got definition. Okay, that's progress. Like I don't need a DEXA scan or a caliper or whatever to tell me what my percentage is to know that I look better in the second picture than I do in the first. Right? And the same when it comes to bodybuilding competition. Like judges are not looking at, okay, guys, let's everybody line up for their DEXA scan. Right? No, they don't give a crap. It's who looks better. Right? So, I'm sure, yes, you want to look at the numbers and the percentages and the weights and stuff because it gives you some hard set numbers for tracking your progress. But ultimately, it's the visual. It's like, are you happy with the way you look? Because regardless, like if the body fat test comes back and says, okay, you're 10% body fat, but you're not happy with the way you look and feel, then who cares? And vice versa. If this test comes back and says you're 15% body fat, but you are happy with the way you look and feel, then who cares? Right? It's all about how you look and feel at the end of the day. Like that's all that really matters. Now, more often than not, the leaner you get, the better you're going to look and feel to a certain point until you start to get depleted. But you have to, how you look and feel is the most important. All right, guys, there's a lot of questions coming through here, but I don't have time to answer them all because it's getting late for me and I have to clue this up. And I got a young fella to get ready for bed soon. But thanks again for tuning in. I always enjoy doing these video chats. Again, I promised to do an hour, and lo and behold, I always get the gift of gab, and I end up going for way over an hour. It happens more weeks than not. The regulars know the rigmarole. But again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for participating and sharing your questions there. It's much appreciated. And if you would like to reach out, if you want to continue the conversation, or if there's anything that I did not address here, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my contact information is there below. You can send me an email or Facebook message, and I'll be in touch with you and help you out in any way that I can. All right, guys, have yourself a fantastic evening, and I'll talk to you next week. Same time, same place. Take care. Over and out.